I'm into the first chapter of Chris Hedges' When Atheism Becomes Religion. It's a book that's been rewritten, so I'm sure there's a lot of new information in there that he alludes to, etc., that wasn't in there before. He's really taking a bite out of Christopher Hitchens and Sam Harris, and I imagine it's because those were the last two major debates he had. I don't know how to respond to reading that chapter because it's really focused on how he's really building a platform on which one could see atheism as a fundamentalist religion in its own right, using phrases and terms like calling science the god of atheism, or the god of science, that type of terminology and sort of phrase that he uses to describe atheists. I can tell you right now that I don't know Sam Harris personally, and I never did know Christopher Hitchens personally, so I don't know that these people would have been as uptight as Chris Hedges is describing. I can imagine that their stances and some of the opinions they may have of human progress being sort of hotly disputed. So I imagine that they would have moments of intense anger, of frustration, things like that. I go through that occasionally, but I think what Chris Hedges is describing is a sort of a very stringent and very restricted and constricted understanding of what an atheist is. Most atheists I know have a lot more fun than he actually says in his book. So it's I'll keep reading, but I just don't see how there's a god of science. If you think that there is a god of science, you clearly don't understand what science is. Right off the bat, I would say that. And maybe there are people who think that there is a god of science, and weirdly enough, the people who do think that there is a god of science would be, sort of fundamentalist Christian or fundamentalist Islam or Muslim or fundamentalist, or fundamentalist Jew. So that's where I am right now with that book. It's a very interesting read. It raises some interesting points, counter arguments, which is always healthy. But I'd also like to kind of say right off the bat, he's setting up a really, really rigid view of what an atheist is. And I still think that if he and I could agree, if I ever met him, if he and I can agree that maybe science isn't going to solve all of the world's problems. Which no atheist has ever actually said before. I've never heard Sam Harris or Christopher Hitchens and I've listened to a lot of lectures by them. They've never actually said that science will solve all of the world's problems. They're much more lenient than that. In fact, if they did have that opinion, I think somebody would be lying in saying they said something like that. Or that they held that opinion, because it doesn't sound like something they would say, that science is going to solve everything. Science is an open-ended question, and they would know that they're scientists, right? But back to my point, if there was going to be some sort of understanding of what's going to create human progress, I think me and Chris Hedges could agree that it wouldn't be fundamentalist religions. So at least we agree on that, and not even fundamentalist religion, but even moderate religion. Maybe that's where he and I would start departing as well, because he thinks that religion offers a framework for philosophical questions, but I think philosophy offers a framework for philosophical questions. So anyway, that's where I am. It's, like I said, interesting read, but he's painting I can already tell he's painting a very rigid notion of what atheism is. So we'll go ahead from there. I'm not an expert, so I'm just telling you so far. That's what I think. Anyway, that's it. Bye.